with Jake and Fulton coming to you on a Red Friday edition. Approaching 27 hours. Chiefs, Jaguars in the divisional round. And the closer it gets, the more confident I am in a Chiefs double figures win at Arrowhead coming up tomorrow.
You can believe that.
We will break it down. We'll talk plenty of Chiefs, keys to the game. We will talk about the rest of the divisional round, the three other contests. We will get into a little Royals baseball as more and more that we have learned as the Royals have made a signing. Just as we exited the building, the show yesterday, JJ Piccolo decided to put pen to paper. We'll get to that. We will talk about the NFL is going to use the most, I don't want to say horrific, but it really was, injury that they've ever had to their game.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to happen.
One of the more traumatic moments we have had on the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very well said. But
and they're going to use it to line their pocketbooks.
Yes, we're going to get to that coming up as well. Eric Eagle will join us from Sumer Sports, and Seth Keysor coming up to talk Chiefs and the rest of the NFL. So a lot to get to. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. Very simple, very easy. 785-272-9429. Let us know your thoughts. Give us your prediction on the Chiefs versus the Jaguars and the rest of the divisional round. Maybe you're a Cowboys fan. We got a couple of them out there. Shoot us a text. Let us know if you think Cowboys will win. Maybe you're a big Giants fan. Maybe a big Daniel Jones guy. Big running quarterback guy. Bills and Bengals. Bengals. Ooh.
Yeah.
Their O-line. None of them are playing. Two starters playing for the Bengals. Bengals, we know how you're feeling. That was us in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. Just be glad you're not facing that pass rush and Von Miller's not there. So we'll get to a lot today here on Mic'd Up. I'm feeling better and better and better about this game for a lot of reasons. Number one, Patrick Mahomes in the divisional round is a buzzsaw. 9 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating of 114, completes 70% of his passes. Doesn't get stopped in the divisional round. Look what he's done in the divisional rounds. Spit it in anything against the Colts. Put up, what was it, a 42-7 run against the Texans. The most epic game that we've seen.
Yeah.
Divisional round last year. Overtime. He's cooking people. I'm feeling good about this Kansas City Chiefs team. He's essentially the best quarterback to ever play in the divisional round. I'm feeling good. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are in a good spot. They're playing well. The Jags are on a heater. They are. They're on a heater. That heater has not been one of the top 5 teams to me here as of late. You're playing the best. All right? Number one key for me. It's very simple. No turnovers. No turnovers. You don't turn the foot. If they have 0 turnovers and the Jaguars have 0 turnovers, Chiefs win by 14.
Possible. We have talked about it, though, when the Chiefs are neutral or positive in the turnover margin, they're 6-0.
And not just 6-0, they cook people.
Unless James the LA Chargers, which they're at home.
And they know the Chiefs better than anyone.
Yeah.
This Jaguar team does not.
No.
That Charger team has dudes.
Yeah, they do.
A lot of dudes.
Yeah. More than a few.
All right. That Charger team didn't have a dude when they played the Jaguars. Mike Williams is a dude.
Yeah, he is.
Like, he's a dude.
Yeah.
I'm feeling if they don't turn it over, 0-0. The pass defense, are the Jags all of a sudden like a good pass defense? Like, did they get really good this week in pass defense? Did they? I'm just seriously. Did they get better? Did they sign Dion and Rod Woodson and Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed? Did they get those guys in?
No, they didn't.
Then they're not going to be able to defend the pass if there's no turnovers. If it's 0 turnovers, I'm sorry, but the Jaguars secondary didn't all of a sudden become, the Eagles secondary. They're going to get cooked if there are no turnovers. Every stat says that going in. And even if the Chiefs do have to punt it a few times, no turnovers. Chiefs are good. But the turnovers, game changer. Game changer. And they have a propensity to do that.
They do.
We know
they
that.
do. Last time they played these Jaguars, they had 3 turnovers in the game. It's important. We'll see what they can do, but no, I'm with you. Maintaining possession is important. My first key is a simple one. I can't go a week without bringing this up. Tackle. Particularly against the Jags, because they have an offense that can really exploit yards after contact. Christian Kirk, for as much as we can take shots at him, is a shifty dude. Has got some speed, some agility. Not the easy guy to bring down. He can catch those crossing routes and take them an extra 40, 50 yards if you don't stay in front of him and bring him down. Travis Etienne, we've discussed it, runs the football very well, but at the same time, in addition to home run speed, a little bit of a shifty guy to try and bring down. Evan Ingram, their tight end's been playing very well as of late, and part of the problem with Evan Ingram is his size and athleticism makes him very hard to get down. The Chiefs have done a great job tackling as of late, but that was a bugaboo for a good chunk of the season. I just want to see them continue their strong tackling play as of late in this one. And I think you can't let a team just get consistently cheap extra yards because you're not tackling well. So that's a big one. If you want to try and limit what the Jags can do, don't let them get cheap yards after contact in this one.
My second key to the game, the Jags know they are not toe-to-toe going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to find that edge. Where is your edge? Is it turnovers? Is it special teams? You got to find the edge. Fourth down can be the edge. I would think if it is a reasonable distance, the Jags are going to go for it on fourth down. And this would be my advice to Doug Peterson. Once you cross midfield, no, it's 4-down territory. Call the plays like you're going to go for it on fourth down no matter what. 1st and 10, if you want to throw it, fine. Or 1st and 10, you run it, maybe gain 5 yards, then you try to throw it on 2nd and 5. But it's 2nd and 5. Run it on 2nd and 5. Get 3 yards. Now it's 4th and 2. You know you're going to go for it on fourth down once you get past the 50. Run it on 3rd down. Maybe you get the yardage, but then it sets you up for a very doable 4th down play. The Jaguars, all they got to do is get to 4th and 1, then run a quarterback sneak. The Chiefs will not be able to stop. They won't. Run 4th and 1, run a quarterback sneak. And you don't even need to do the Trevor Lawrence, like lean over and that type of thing. That's too dangerous. You got to do that at the goal line. But just be 6'6", burrow that way in there. 4th down stops. The Jags, I bet, will go for at least 3 to 4 of them in this game. They should. They should do it. Can you get a stop on half of them? That's what you need. They do 4 4th down attempts. Can you stop them twice? Now, it might only mean stop them once. But 4th down, to me, will be the key in this one for both teams. Chiefs going to have to stop them, but the Jaguars, they are going to have to go for it on fourth down. Their defense is not good enough in the secondary to slow down Patrick Mahomes. They're not. They cannot stop Travis Kelce. They suck at guarding the tight end. I think Kadarius Toney's going to have a good game. Mahomes, I think, in the first half is going to throw it all over the lot. The only way you're going to hang with the Chiefs offensively is if you go for it on fourth down. Can you get the stop on fourth down if you are the Kansas City Chiefs? That's going to be the big one. That's the huge plays will be on fourth down. This game might be determined on 4 plays, and that's those 4 down attempts. If the Jaguars get 3 or 4 of them, Jaguars, that is the way you hang with the Chiefs. They are not good enough pound for pound. You got to find the edge. I think fourth down is the edge. If you don't get turnovers. Turnovers are the great edge. Can you force Patrick Mahomes to make a dumb decision? Can you force a fumble because Chiefs like to fumble the ball? Do the Chiefs self-inflict wounds where they muff a punt? That's the number one way. The second way, fourth down conversions. If they get both of them, the Jags get both of them, that is the only way that they hang with the Kansas City Chiefs for me. And is that a way that you can win it? Yes. But I think the Chiefs are locked in. I think they're good. That's why I don't think that they're going to do that. That's why I think they win by double figures.
That's fair. Good thesis there. No, I think they'll try a few extra fourth down attempts. I don't know if they'll try as much as you think they will.
They need to. Do you agree?
I agree they need to.
No, do you agree with the premise? Maybe even more so. Forget fourth down attempts. The biggest key is, does Doug Peterson maximize when they get into the 50-yard line?
No,
Act like you're going for it on fourth down.
I'm with you.
Play calling matters. If it's 3rd and 5, you have to know right then and there, we are going for it on fourth down.
Yeah, because then a play call that you can design a play and you tell your quarterback it's okay to only get 3 or 4 yards
because we're
going to get the rest of it in the next down.
Yeah.
No, you're completely right. And if you're the Jags, that is the way you need to coach, because that's what when you're a team in a position to where you do not match up well on the X's and the O's with another team, you got to win on the margins. That's one of the margins to win on. My second key for the Chiefs in this one, rattle Trevor Lawrence. Get a pass rush. Get in his face. Lawrence, with a clean pocket, will pick you apart. He is good. He is young and he is talented and he can get in a rhythm. And when Trevor Lawrence gets in that kind of NBA Jam on fire rhythm and he gets heating, he is hard to stop. Completed over 80% of his passes in the second half against the Chargers.
And then he was like at the craps table and not rolling a 7 or crapping out for like an hour, man.
Yeah,
he was on.
He has the ability to get on unreal heaters. A way you can help prevent that: Chris Jones, Frank Clark, George Karlaftis, Carlos Dunlap, Mike Dana. Get in his face. Pressure him. Don't give him time. That's what's so important, because when you do that, it goes beyond even trying to force turnovers or force them to make bad throws. You speed up any quarterback, and it usually throws off their rhythm and throws off an ability to get on that kind of a heater. Make Lawrence uncomfortable, make him to consistently move. He has shown a propensity to sometimes make bad mistakes, especially when he's flustered or getting pressured or being thrown off his game. And if he's not giving you interceptions, if you just don't let him sit there and carve you up, you get a better chance of getting off the field and not letting the Jaguars keep up big drives.
Big Chief, Nick Bolton. I'm with Willie Gay. Slow down ETN.
Yeah.
ETN.
Did you just spell it E, a T, and an N out?
ETN. STOPHIM. What's funny is you spell a lot more words around your kids.
Yeah.
So that they don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's fair. It's like telling your dog you're going to go for a WALK.
Yeah. Yeah. Except my son's starting to catch on. What you spelling? Don't worry about it. The amount of spelling that goes on between my wife and me during the evening time and afternoon times, it's quite funny.
You need to have a spelling bee with you, too.
With who? Me and my son?
No, you and your wife. That much spelling, let's see who wins. I know who I'm putting my money on.
I'm not a great speller.
I know. That's
I can admit that.
Your wife.
I can admit that. I still don't. I'm pretty sure if you told me, like, some words are just hard for some people. Receipt. I don't think I've ever spelled that right on the computer ever.
RECIEPT?
Is it EI or IE?
It should be IE.
I have no idea.
I'm not confident I spelled that right.
Yeah.
I think it's RECIEPT.
I think that's right.
I think it follows the old I before E rule, except it's usually I before E, except after C, except that one breaks that rule.
Yeah.
Because English grammar rules are lies.
Yeah.
But back on track here, my big cheese, Frank Clark.
Frank Clark.
It's Frank Clark, baby. I honestly, like, a non-hyperbolic, I think Frank's going to have a good postseason.
All right, great. Let's have some fun with Frank Clark. Okay. If Frank Clark has 1 sack this postseason, he will tie what player in NFL history for postseason sacks?
I know Frank's like, what, 5th?
He's got 11 sacks. He's tied with Marvin Harrison, Clay Matthews, and Lamar Woodley. He's 1 behind, you can argue, the greatest defensive player in NFL history.
There's no way Lawrence Taylor's right above him.
No, I don't even think Lawrence Taylor's in the mix here. If he gets 1 sack, Frank Clark and Reggie White will have the same amount of sacks in the postseason.
Reggie White was so good.
If he gets 2 sacks, he will now be 3rd all time. He will have passed Reggie White, and he will have passed Chief Great Terrell Suggs.
T-Sizzle.
Who's got 12.5. If he gets 3.5 sacks, he will tie the most underrated pass rusher of all time, Bruce Smith. Yeah. Everybody talks about Lawrence Taylor. Everybody talks about Reggie White. They never bring up Bruce Smith. Like, that's where he's at. If he gets a sack a game, he'll be tied with Bruce Smith. Second all time. Absurd.
I agree.
We'll get a timeout coming up next. Fulton's going to get angry. We'll get to that here on Mic'd Up. The Kansas City Royals have signed Aroldis Chapman to a 1-year, $3.75 million deal. Fulton, go.
This is stupid. It is pointless. It is a waste of a signing. And also, fun fact, Aroldis Chapman, just a certifiably not good human being. The Royals are wasting $3 million on a pitcher who was washed, who was not good, who had the highest walk rate among qualified relievers last year. Can't throw a strike. Terrible attitude, left his team for no reason. At one point, was placed on the injured list because he got a bad tattoo that had such a bad reaction on his skin that he had to go on the injured list. Oh, and again, he's a certifiably bad guy. And you know what's even worse? Reports have come out today. The reason Aroldis Chapman signed with the Royals and not other contenders like the Padres, the Royals reportedly have offered him a chance to close games. Why? Why? You know what you could do with that $3 million? Go sign Brad Hand. Go sign Will Smith. Go sign Zach Britton. They'd be better or as good options. And guess what? They're not bad human beings. This is the first move where truly I am hating something J.J. Piccolo's done. This is ridiculous. The Royals have signed a bad player who is a bad human being, who does not deserve to play the game of baseball, who should be out of the league. And they're giving him money for I don't know what reason. You could find anyone else to do the job as good as he's going to do it. Because I reiterate, he is washed.
I got a little bit of a rebuttal, and we'll get to that. We'll also talk about how the NFL, this might be an anger segment coming up. We'll get to that coming up here on Mic'd Up. Mike Dub with Jake and Fulton coming to you on a Red Friday. Check us out on the interwebs. You can go to our website, 580wibw.com. You can listen to the show and watch the show. Wave to the people, Fulton. Very simple, very easy. Let us know in the comments section as well. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line. All right. About the Aroldis Chapman signing.
Mm-hmm. So I think I know what your point is going to be, and I have some bad news for you.
No. Like, I'm not. To me, the biggest the thing that upsets me is that if that report is true, that they told him he could close. We don't. Like, closing is so dumb to the Royals right now. You only need a closer if you're going to win 90 games. Okay. So that's stupid. Mm-hmm. That's dumb. The best argument to me is what you said about Brad Hand, somebody other than that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here is where I don't know if it's devil's advocate, but I can at least see the Royals' point of view. Aroldis Chapman 2 years ago was striking out 16 batters.
Mm-hmm.
He still had it. Okay. They also believe right now, and we have no other reason not to believe them, that they think they can fix his flaw. Because last year, as you mentioned, he has
no control.
Yeah, it was
his control's gone.
And that's where they think they can tweak him mechanically. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I can see that aspect. I still would have saved the $3-4 million, give it to Greinke. We don't need bullpen guys. I think the bullpen is okay. Plus, you've already got a couple lefties already. Now, the one thing that Royals fans, yourself, myself included, wanted the Royals to be more of was what? Transactional. We have said that a lot. This is transactional. This is, look, he's got a checkered past. You and I both agree. I'm 100% agreeing with you. I'm not saying I would have made this signing. I'm just trying to see what the Royals' perspective is. And the Royals' perspective is this. One, they think he still has it in the tank because his velocity is still there. They think that they can fix him mechanically. If this were the previous Royals staff, it would be a dear holy goodness, no, you guys can't fix, a leaky pipe. But they've got a new staff involved. They're going to try to fix him that way. They want to be, it's a cheap signing. It's $4 million.
Yeah.
It's not a big one.
No, that's true.
Do I think that they could have gone somewhere else? Yeah, I would have rather spent $4 million on Zach Greinke. If Greinke's like, yeah, I'll do it for $15 million, and the Royals like, no, we can only do it for 10. Give him that $4 million that you're going to give Aroldis Chapman.
Mm-hmm.
That is where I probably wouldn't do that sign. As for the transactional part, this is what you were probably not thinking transactional. You were probably thinking, hey, trade a player a little bit earlier. Transactional is trading for Waters for the second round pick. That's more transactional. Yeah. Cutting someone early and not paying him, that's transactional. I probably wouldn't have done this simply for a myriad of reasons, and it has nothing to do with off the field.
Mm.
If Major League Baseball, who doesn't really suspend people, thought he was a bad enough guy to suspend him for 40 games, then obviously they think something really bad happened. So I would not have made the signing. I would not. I would rather have gone elsewhere, like you have pointed out.
If your goal was left-handed reliever in his early to mid 30s, let me tell you, Royals, you had like 8 more to choose from at a similar price point who aren't awful people.
So,
and also who aren't washed.
Now the wash thing is, to me, where I get it,
and I get where I get the idea that the Royals might think that they can
fix him,
help him reclaim some of his old juice a bit here. Here's my thing, and it comes down to this idea of being transactional for me. One, because I think you're right to a level of, there can be an argument of, we've asked the Royals to, sign players to do things. They are. Why are we getting mad they are doing it? Because I'm not going to reward somebody when I ask them to do something for doing a bad version of it.
Correct.
Like, you don't get a pat on the back, Royals, for being transactional when you make a bad signing. You're just like, look, we signed somebody. You don't get a kudos of like, well, you did something. No. There's a level to this for me with the state that the Royals are in. I have a very specific opinion at this moment in time over veteran signings. If the veteran you are signing is not going to be able to help you 3 years down the road on the contract they are currently signing, then if they fit that role, then I don't care about a lot of things they can do. Because the idea is we bring them in now to help later. That, you know what? I can get behind. If they are here for 1 year on a 1 year contract and they are a veteran arm or veteran hitter, just veteran player, if they are in this organization at this stage that it's in, part of their job is mentoring. That should be expressly in the job description. Because that's what you should be doing with 1 year veterans. That's why Zach Greinke was so important. Because not only did he give you innings, he mentored those young guys. Aroldis Chapman ain't going to do that. Aroldis Chapman ain't here to up your clubhouse energy. Aroldis Chapman isn't here to make your younger guys learn how to pitch. So to me, it's just a waste of time, because if they're not going to help you down the road in a couple of years when you really will be competitive, and all they're supposed to be here right now is to help fill body spots, At least give me a guy that can help my young guys learn how to be a major league ball player.
What if he's there? What if they fix him and then you flip him at the deadline?
That is what they're hoping to do. I can guarantee you
sure.
that is their entire goal.
Because
The
they're not gonna like unless you got was it 2 years ago Minnesota Twins run in them where you're like, wow, we didn't see that happening.
It's just not happening.
I don't see them winning 88 games.
They're not going to, and the problem is they've tried this before. They tried this several times. We're going to sign a guy, the entire purpose is to flip him at the deadline. It rarely works. Because and this is my thing, I have a problem with any signing that is a signing predicated on flipping that guy midseason for capital. Because then what are you doing here? Like, you're signing a guy so that he plays well so you can get him off your team. Like, that to me is not the greatest strategy because it hinges on they need to be good. Like, cool, yeah.
They're betting a lot on.
They're betting on that Brian Sweeney and Kevin can fix him. Yeah. Guess what? If they can't, Royals, you're stuck with a batter Aroldis Chapman for 162 games. And the minute he doesn't get what he wants, he becomes a clubhouse cancer.
Then you cut him.
And you know how I know that? Because that's literally every stop he's been at.
Then cut him. You know,
and it costs you money to not have him on your team.
I don't think this is a awful decision.
See, this is horrendous to me.
I would not have done this.
No, it has no redeeming qualities to me.
I would not, if I were the general manager of the Royals, I would not have signed him, though I do see the avenues on where you would, but to me, those avenues are still not they don't outweigh the I would have done something different. You know what I mean?
And listen, if the idea is we want to make sure we want to try and use Chapman to get him better so we could flip him at the deadline to accelerate the rebuild. Guess what you've done though, Royals? You're taking away innings from young guys who you need to get work. There are young pitchers on that roster now who will not get the same run. And why? He gave Aroldis Chapman nearly $4 million. We got to get him innings.
We will.
It's ridiculous.
We will get a little bit more angry right now.
Yeah, let's go to a stupid thing the NFL is doing outside of a stupid thing the Royals did.
The NFL is very happy about this. This was tweeted out from the NFL PR guy. With the potential for a neutral site AFC title game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, both clubs gave season ticket members previously opted in to purchase tickets. More than 50,000 tickets were purchased by the club's season ticket members in the first 24 hours of the announcement. The ticketing plan enables the Bills to be seated on their side and the Chiefs on the other. Both the Bills and the Chiefs will continue to work with their season ticket holders, yada, yada, yada. If they don't happen, either the Chiefs or the Bills lose, then it will not, you'll get a refund. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Cincinnati Bengals, who else are good teams in the AFC that you think can be good in the future? You should hate this. You should hate this. If you think you have a chance to be a number 1 seed, you should hate this. If you have a chance to be a number 2 seed, you should hate this. If you have a chance to be a number 3 seed, you should hate this. Because the Chiefs have hosted the AFC Championship game, being a 2 seed. I don't know if you guys remember that. Right when this occurred, what did we say? We're going to have on second thought coming up, but we were right on this one. The NFL is going to use the most traumatic on-field injury. They were pumping a man's chest for 9 minutes. And they're going to end up making money because of that.
And they're not even that. They're going to parlay that incident into a rule change, into an entire structural change to the playoff system, whose only benefit is making them more money.
Yes.
They will lie and they will tell you it is about balancing competitiveness and that, it creates a better atmosphere and it allows all these different things. It is one reason and one reason only that they will make this decision and move championship games to neutral sites going forward. And it is because it makes them an extra buck.
Oh, easily. But we know that's what the NFL. Are you surprised at this?
No,
Absolutely not.
We both said the moment that they said that this was an avenue they were going to explore. You and I both said, "Well, this is the trial balloon going up." Like, do they like this? Everyone likes this. Everyone's buying tickets. We've done it, guys, because no owner, if they can make more money, even if it's the idea we have to kind of split the revenue up because not one person's hosting, but if they're like, but we can make more overall, that's all they care about.
And maybe I'm wrong that
I hope we're wrong. I hope
owners,
the old guard of owners says, no, we host games. This isn't about money. It's about tradition. Best teams host the game. I pray that there is enough of an old guard of owners who say we're not doing this.
But let me ask you this, okay? You're the Bengals, you're the Bills. If you're the Bengals or Bills, the owner, who you think are going to be competitive in the future, maybe this isn't a bad idea for them because then they don't have to go to Arrowhead.
That's true.
Not only do you not have to go to Arrowhead, but you'll make more money. That's why I think this is going to end up happening. I think AFC title game, NFC title game will be on neutral sites. They're going to bid it out just like they do the Super Bowl, and I will hate it. And the reason why I hate it is you have college football already giving you the blueprint. You already have the blueprint. The college football playoff wants games on host sites. Bowl game atmospheres are not the same as home sites. And the reason why it stinks is because to the victor go the spoils. If you are the best at what you do, you should get rewarded for it. You should, if you get the 1 seed, you get the bye. You get home field advantage. That's why we play the game. Oh,
the regular season has to matter.
It does, and that's the reason why I hate this. It's another edition of corporate America getting what they want, and they're gonna get it. Like this is, I will be very surprised now if even next year or 2024 we don't have neutral site AFC and NFC title games. And I think that's what that's going to end up happening. And of course season ticket holders are going to spend this type of money. Of course they are. If you're a season ticket holder, you do it for 2 reasons. 1, you want to go to the game.
Yeah.
2, you buy that ticket and you put that puppy on the secondary market, it's going to go up in value by 3 times. There you go. You're making some money. And I'm not going to be mad at any of those people because that is your ticket. You do what you want. But that's the thing that frustrates me is it's not so much, oh, well, home field advantage should go to the best team. There's a reason why, hey, you know, that's really, really big. But it's also how it went about. If DeMar Hamlin doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, if DeMar's heart doesn't stop on a football field and that young man's life hasn't changed forever, well, we don't ever get here.
Oh, not even close. No one even thinks about it.
Nope.
But because extenuating circumstances occurred, like to me, I understand why they didn't play the game right then and there.
Yeah.
You could have played the game the next day. And then, 1, you don't screw over the Bengals. You don't screw over the Bills. You know, because they're both, I mean, honestly, like when the Bengals should be more upset than what, because if they beat the Bills, right? Let's say they played that game the next day, the Bengals win. Where's this game played at on Sunday?
Cincinnati.
It's in Cincinnati. So
which I will say over that right there brings me to why is this game this weekend not being played on a neutral site?
Yeah.
It should be.
But
Those
also,
Bengals should not be being played in Buffalo.
But also, they didn't, also, if you want to go that route, you know, it's unfair to the Jags. Jags played 17 games. Bills and Bengals only played 16. You know, the whole attrition, if you will, right? Like they did the best they could out of a bad situation, and now they're going to profit over a bad situation. But nothing's going to matter because you and I are both going to watch. We've talked about this time and time again.
Mm-hmm.
The only entity anywhere that is Teflon and the NFL. They can do, no matter what happens, they will fall down and land on a gold bar. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that's basically what's going on right now. Yeah, if they don't, then that does mean that the owners, because the owners are all going to have to approve this. This is not what Raj wants.
No, this will go to an owner's vote.
Well, 8 owners say, no, we're not going to do this.
I don't know.
I don't know, because most of them will say, wait a minute, if we don't get the number 1 seed, but that's why I wonder if you're the 2 seed. If you're the Bills, do you want to do this if you're the Bills? Maybe you get the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you get the 2 seed and the 1 seed gets popped and you get to host. So it just screams of NFL. Like that's what it does. We'll get a timeout. We'll finish up this noon hour coming up next with our edition of On Second Thought. On second thought, where we'd like to have a redo. What do you got, Fulton?
I think the more I've thought about it, I'm going to move over to your side on one of the playoff teams' remaining's biggest weakness. I think the Giants might actually be their defense over Daniel Jones. The more I've thought about it, I think Dable's done enough to scheme around Dan. Plus, Dan's playing better than I should give him credit for. But I'm with you. I think if they lose to Philly, it's because they won't be able to stop a nosebleed running the football. And nothing that Dan does will change that outcome if they can't stop the run. So I think I've moved over to your side of the fence here.
Their defense isn't good.
No, it's not. No. Very bad.
It's bad. I thought the Buccaneers were going to beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, you did.
I definitely did. I said, Tom, old Tommy, at home, he ain't going out like that.
He did go out like that.
He definitely went out like that.
He 100% went out like that.
Yeah. That was bad.
You'll still thought the Chargers going to beat the Jaguars.
No, remember I switched when I found out that.
No. You said they wouldn't cover. You said the Jags would cover. You did not. No. Well, you stayed with the Chargers winning outright the whole time. There, mister.
I did, but I didn't think they would. I did. I bet the Jags.
Yes.
When I knew that Mike Williams was out, I said, okay, yeah, that's going to be a problem, and so I changed that. But that one is that's fair. Tom. Ooh, Tom, making me look bad. Coming up, we're going to go around the AFC and the NFC, and we'll get to our divisional picks. Two of Mic'd Up with Jake and Fulton. Thank you so much for tagging along with us on this Friday. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. From the Big O Tires text line, is snow going to be a factor in the game? It's not going to snow enough for it to be a factor. I don't think that it'll be too wet or too windy for it to be a factor. I think the a little snow is not bad. A little moisture is not terrible. especially snow, because snow is not quite like a downpour. So I don't think the snow will have much of a impact in the game coming up tomorrow. I don't see that.
Agreed.
In order for weather to be a big factor, it's either got to be bitterly cold, lot of wind, or a lot of rain. And there's not supposed to be a ton of snow, so I don't see that happening coming up tomorrow. I really don't.
Yeah,
I don't. But that is a good take, because weather can play a factor, but this weather's not going to be extreme weather.
no.
It's not supposed to be crazy cold or anything like that. So I think the Chiefs will be all right. We got Everyone Loves the List coming up. Then we're going to talk with Eric Eager, get his thoughts on the divisional round and what tips the scale in a couple of these divisional games. I think two of these games are going to be not close. I think the Giants and the Eagles game will favor the Eagles heavily. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts having a couple weeks off, going to help him out. And I think the Eagles defense is going to be able to slow down Daniel Jones running the football. So I think the Eagles are going to end up outscoring the Giants, but I think the Eagles, I think they win. I think they're going to win by 10 points. I think the games on Saturday are not going to be as exciting. I just don't see that. The big news for the day is that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be without Alex Kappa, who's their right guard, and Jonah Williams, who's their left tackle, against Buffalo. If you are without two of your better offensive linemen at this point in time, that's a problem. The good news for the Bengals is that Joe Burrow is terrific in the pocket, and there's no elite pass rusher for the Bills. We gave you the stat, was it yesterday or the day before, that said the first 8 games or first 10 games with Von Miller, they were a top 5 pressure rate. Without Von Miller, since then, they're mid-20s, I think it was. Wasn't it, Fulton? Like 23, 24?
Give or take, yeah.
They don't have that. They don't have a Chris Jones. They don't have, Fletcher Cox or Hassan Reddick or even a Brandon Graham. They don't have one of them Bosa's. They don't have a Dexter Lawrence. I mean, they don't even have a Josh Allen. Well, they do. They do have a Josh Allen. But they don't have a pass rushing Josh Allen. That's why I wonder if maybe we're making too big a deal out of this for the Bengals. If the Bengals play the Chiefs right now, and there's no Kappa and no Williams, I think it's a bigger deal. Because what did they do? They double teamed Chris Jones and they said somebody else beat us. Well, when you've got backups places, I'll take my chances. I'll take Carlos Dunlap. I'll take George Karlaftis, Mike Dana over the course of a 4-quarter game, that they're going to end up getting to the quarterback against a backup left tackle and a backup right guard. Do you want Chris Jones going up against a backup or your starter in Alex Kappa? The Bills, I don't think Ed Oliver, he's not that guy. You're not that guy, pal. That's why I don't know if this will factor in as much. I think the Eagles cruise. I think the Chiefs cruise. The other two games, I think, are going to be close. I saw this on the Cowboys and 49ers game, to me, is all about two individuals, and they don't even play for the 49ers. I don't even think this game is going to be determined by the 49ers. It is going to be determined by the Cowboys and two individuals. Number 4, Dak Prescott. And I think Micah Parsons is number 11.
Yes.
Did you know that Micah Parsons basically played a completely different position the first time that these two teams played?
I did know that.
You did know that?
Yeah.
Did he play running back?
No, he was off-ball linebacker.
Off-ball linebacker. What is Micah Parsons playing now?
Pass rushing. He's defensive end, essentially. He
is a see ball, get ball. Go get him. They didn't see that number 11. They didn't see that. They didn't see that guy. He's a different guy now. He was off the ball as a linebacker for 42 snaps in the first game against the 49ers. If he's off the ball for 2 snaps, Dan Quinn of the Cowboys should be fired.
I agree.
Micah Parsons, can he get to... It has nothing to do with the 49ers. No, this game has nothing to do with the 49ers. If Micah Parsons gets to Brock Purdy, if this unit can get... It's all about the Cowboys. Because I know what the 49ers are going to do. 49ers are not going to deviate. 49ers defense is going to be the 49ers. Can Dak Prescott not, as you like to say, give the ball away? He's good for a couple turnovers. If he is locked in and he plays well, then I think the Cowboys can win the game. And they will win the game. Had nothing to do about 49ers. Nothing. Nick Bosa, nope. This is all, does Dak Prescott make the right decision? And I don't think he will. And I think they will scheme up something to limit Micah Parsons. And that's why I think the 49ers are going to end up winning this game. I got the 49ers and Eagles. And then I'm going to go with the team that I think is playing a little bit better right now, despite their O-lineman issues. I'm going to take the Bengals. I said from the very beginning, we're not going to have a neutral site game. You want to know who can save us all potentially from a neutral site game?
Bengals.
Cincinnati Bengals. But it might not matter because they saw already they already saw the results, 50,000 fans already. So even if the Bengals do win and the game is at Arrowhead, which would be their 5th straight AFC title game.
Building upon their own record.
It's still probably going neutral sites. But I'm going to take the Bengals. So I think it will be Chiefs-Bengals, the evening game, coming up on the 29th. And it will be the 49ers-Eagles, the 3 o'clock game. 2 o'clock game? Was it 2 and 5?
I can't remember.
Like either way. I know
something like that.
I know the AFC plays late.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen. Fill out your brackets, place them accordingly. I like the Bengals. Here you go. Ready? Take Bengals Chiefs money line. If you're going to bet the Bengals money line, just throw in the Chiefs money line. It'll add another 100, plus 100 to it. Because it'll parlay them. Just pick the Chiefs to win. Same thing. If you think the 49ers going to win outright or whatever, just tag money line for the Eagles because they're going to win too. Heck, do them both. If you think the Bengals are going to win, money line Bengals, Chiefs, Eagles, all 3 of those. Chiefs and Eagles are not losing.
Yeah, probably not. I do think that the games this week are going to be closer than you think because we thought we were going to have a bunch of duds last week and we didn't have that. Because I think the Eagles are still going to win. I think the Chiefs are still going to win. I think the Jags and Giants will keep it closer than some may expect. So I think both teams will find a way just to stay within striking distance but never get the job done. The two probably better games with more outcomes in the balance are, Bills, Bengals, and Niners, Cowboys. I think I'm with you, and I lead Bengals over Bills, even with the offensive line issues, because Cincinnati's been playing better football as of late. Now, both teams struggled in the divisional round, but just when I watch both of those teams play, I think Cincinnati just is in a better overall rhythm right now than Buffalo. So I think I would with you. I'd lean Cincinnati. Niners Cowboys is interesting because I think this is going to be the first time that the Niners will really get tested by a good pass rush. That Brock Purdy's really going to have to deal with some pressure. The problem is the Cowboys defense is susceptible to getting got. And more importantly, they do not tackle well. And the Niners are a team that if you can't tackle well, they can really get a lot of things done on you. With George Kittle after the catch and Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey even. Brandon Ayuk and all that. I don't know if even just playing a clean game would be enough for Dallas in this one. So I think I lean San Francisco, though, Lord, I would love to see San Francisco finally get bounced. I can't live in a reality where Brock Purdy makes the Super Bowl. I can't. I refuse to live in that world. I refuse.
Hey, the reason why I still think the Eagles are a better roster.
Oh, top to bottom, the Eagles are the better roster. Like top to bottom. And that's why I still think Philly's going to make it in this. Even if we have an Eagles-Niners NFC Championship game, I pick Philly because I just think they do so many other things right. And then plus, I think one of the advantages that the Niners should have over people is running after the catch, is getting stuff after contact, and Philly tackles well. Philly just tackles incredibly well, and also Philly rushes the passer so incredibly well. I think they would throw off Brock Purdy. So I think our championship games are going to be Niners, Eagles, and Chiefs, Bengals. I'm with you. I think that's where we go. But I do actually think all four games this weekend are somewhat close.
How many teams are, if they lose this game, it is a disappointing year? Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, if they lose, it's a disappointing year.
Yeah, Bengals, Bills, that losing team is just, which either one it is, it's kind of a disappointing year because of where they wanted to be and the step they wanted to take. Chiefs, they fell to the Jags would be a gigantic disappointment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the NFC,
I think they're all well. I think Philly might be the only one where it might be a bit of a disappointment if they lose this early.
See, I don't know. And the reason I'm going to say that, and it probably is, but the Giants, I think they're house money.
Giants house money.
I think the Eagles, they didn't think they were going to be this good this year. So I don't know if that, but being the one seed,
being the one
bounced,
seed,
maybe.
And remember, the thing with Philly I go to is there can be that thought of, were they going to be this good, yada, yada, yada. They spent a Brinks truck worth of money upgrading their team. Like, they spent their offseason to do this. Like, they think about all of the talent they brought in.
See, I think
they did it for this.
I think the 49ers are almost.
They're down to Brock Purdy. It's house money.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I don't know.
Because if they falter, they can go, yeah, look at how far I made it with a third string quarterback who was the last player drafted.
And the Cowboys, to me,
I mean, I always view them as it's not a disappointment to a certain level because, like,
you've never been good recently.
And also, just did anyone as this year went on really ever go and think Dallas is a Super Bowl team? I think it's been talked about a couple to a level of like, you look at Dallas and look at what they've done. You're like, man, they kind of snuck under the radar with how good overall they were all year. But when you really think about it, I don't think anyone's like, yeah, Dallas is good. Yeah, they can make the postseason. Yeah, they can maybe win a couple games. I don't think anyone said it was like, well, Dallas should go to a Super Bowl, especially when the year started. No one when the year started was saying, Dallas Super Bowl team right there. No. I mean, even when they got here, there were people who thought the Bucs would beat them.
Yeah.
So I really think, like, in the NFC, the Eagles are the only one who kind of would feel disappointed if they don't go to a championship game. And that's because of all the money they spent this offseason to get better. That's my opinion. Like, Philadelphia constructed this team and brought in all these players with the idea of, we're going to go make a deep run. We're going to put all this talent around Jalen Hurts, and with that amount of talent around Jalen Hurts and the other things we do to this team, we can go win a Super Bowl. Like, that was their thought process. And so if they fall to the Giants, and then also just, there's optics too. Like, they're playing better, but it's still the Giants.
If they were anything,
the 6th seed.
If they were anything but the 1 seed,
it'd be a lot different.
It'd be different. I'm with you there. Coming up next, everyone loves the list, and then we're going to hear from Eric Eager on all things divisional round. Our list today, the most impactful players of the divisional round, non-quarterback division. Because if you do most
impactful players, everyone, we're just going to have quarterbacks.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Purdy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, probably.
So, non-quarterback division.
Yeah. There's a theme with mine, even it being a non-quarterback division. Number 4 for me, Hassan Reddick for Philly. He had 16 sacks this year.
I wanted the Chiefs to sign him.
So did I. We were there.
I'm going with the Bosa. Nick Bosa, number 4 for me.
He's number 3 for me. He makes that Niner defense kind of go.
See, I don't think he does, but if he is that guy, then they are
like
they got so many other dudes on that defense.
They do, and that's more my thought with Reddick, because Reddick had so many other of his teammates with 10+ sacks this year. With Nick Bosa, if he isn't going, that Niner defense loses a step. But
I don't think so.
That's where we differ a bit. That's fine. Yeah, that's why Nick Bosa is only number 3 for me.
Number 3 for me is Chris Jones.
Only number 3?
Yeah, he's number 3.
Really?
I think there are 2 other people who are more important.
Interesting.
Non-Chris Jones division.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's fair. Number 2 for me is Micah Parsons.
Okay.
If he isn't playing well, that Dallas defense is bad. Like bad, like cooked chicken, like they are going to get massacred bad if Micah Parsons ain't generating the juice at the rush spot.
And my 2 and 1, really all 4 of them are positions where you can dominate a game just individually. Like running back, you can't. Offensive line, you can't.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me, and I thought about moving Chris Jones above him, but number 2 for me is Jamar Chase.
Oh,
Jamar Chase is a guy that you can just throw him the ball to every time, and he eventually will make you pay.
Fair enough.
We saw Jamar Chase single-handedly beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's fair.
So Jamar,
that's fair.
That's what the Bengals can do. No other wide receiver left in this game can do that except for Jamar Chase. Nobody on the Chiefs. I even think Travis Kelce can't do what Jamar Chase does. Single-handedly take over a game. So I'm going to go Jamar Chase.
That's fair. Number 1 for me, Chris Jones. Because if Chris Jones isn't playing well, that Chiefs defense, everything changes. No. Everything about that defense changes if Jones is stopped.
And the reason why I didn't put Chris Jones higher because the Chiefs offense can score so much.
Fair enough.
Number 1 is Micah Parsons. He can single-handedly take care of business. And that's why he's the most important player in this weekend non-quarterback division to me, Micah Parsons. Coming up, we're going to talk with Eric Eager of Sumer Sports. We'll get to that coming up next. 136 here on a Red Friday edition of Mic'd Up. Jake LeBon along with Fulton Caster with you. We'll talk more Chiefs coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. Get a little hoops as well leading into two home games for KU and K-State. We'll get to that coming up as well. But to talk all things AFC and NFC, the divisional round, it's my favorite week of the NFL season. Cannot wait for 2 games Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. We're going to talk with Eric Eager, VP of Research and Development for Sumer Sports. You can check out his podcast. Very simple, very easy to check out. You can go to the Apple Podcast, the Sumer Sports Show. Eric, will there be as many close games this weekend compared to last week, or will we have maybe some blowouts this weekend?
Jake, I think it's probably going to be a little bit more of a blowout weekend. And I know, other than the Chiefs game against the Jaguars, that might not make people feel all that great. But, oftentimes, on a short week, you can get, you can catch a team off guard and things like that. And, the Jaguars and, the Giants, I think, are two teams that'll probably have a hard time recreating, some of the success they had a week ago.
Am I delusional, overconfident? I think the Chiefs are going to win by double figures. If the Chiefs don't turn it over, if there's a 0 in the turnover column, I don't see how the Chiefs lose this game.
I think that's a very reasonable thing. And even the last time that we saw, them play, they turned it over a few times and it was still okay. Right. Not great. Obviously you don't want to see that happen. But you still had, a fair amount of distance between the Jaguars and the Chiefs, despite the fact that there were special team mistakes. There were, obviously turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. I think that they'll, be in a pretty good spot, as far as if they don't turn it over. I don't think that they're going to open the door to the Jags the same way that the Chargers did last week.
What's the way outside of turnovers that the Jags win this game? Like, give me the blueprint. No turnovers, and let's say special teams, no turnovers for the Chiefs. The return game is really not a thing anymore, and the Jags are not great at that. So let's say, no big returns, a return for a touchdown on a punt return or a kickoff return. I just don't see the avenue if there's no turnover.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, maybe it's where the secondary for the Jags, they have a good game or something like that. And, the Chiefs receiving core, let's say they shut down Kelsey. When Kelsey has slowed down a little bit over the second half of the season, let's say that they can find a way with their linebackers, Lloyd and Aluakon, to cover, to cover Kelsey. Then the game's left to Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Juju Smith-Schuster, which I think, is maybe a little bit speculative if you are the Chiefs. And that, to me, is the one way where they can, go ahead and not have as great of a day. But to me, other than that, it's going to be a hard one for the Jaguars.
Did the Jags all of a sudden get really good in the secondary? Like, did I miss something? Did they, they bring back Prime Ed Reed? They got, Troy Polamalu? Do they got, legit corners? Because they're not all of a sudden going to be poof really, really good.
No, and that, I think that's a very reasonable thing to say as far as, hey, we're going to be, I'm going to be a little bit skeptical of all of this because, the Chargers, they give the opposition a fair amount in the way of slack, right? They do not, they do not make, they do not make you pay for mistakes as much. And of course, that's going to be, that's going to be beneficial because the Chiefs do make you pay when you make mistakes. So I'm very much of the mind that, we're going to see a Chiefs team that's going to, flat out go out there and score some points this week. And this is one where they look this thing in the eye and they're saying, okay, Buffalo and Cincinnati have both had to play 4 quarters already this season or this postseason. And so far the Chiefs have had to play none. This is going to be a fairly solid, run for the Chiefs. They can lean on this bye week that they've had. Buffalo and Cincinnati are going to probably kill each other on Sunday. The Chiefs are probably going to go in the AFC title game rested. And I think that they want to, more than anything, have such a good performance on Sunday, or Saturday, that they come into that AFC title game, whether it's in Atlanta or whether it's in Kansas City, rested up.
Well, let's get to the game because I don't think the Chiefs-Jags is going to be that close. So, Bengals and the Bills. It was a terrible situation. They could have handled it maybe differently, but they decided this is what we're going to do. Do the Bengals have a gripe for having to go to Buffalo? Should this be a neutral site if they're going to do other neutral sites?
Well, I would say that the Chiefs got the best deal of it, and the Bengals kind of got the short end of the stick for sure. I mean, not having, if they would have lost, they would have had to play a Ravens team without Lamar Jackson for that, division title. So in some ways, they got the division title without having to win a game. But they still had to do the coin flip possibility. I think they've really gotten the raw end of it here. This particular time, but that's what happens when life catches up, right? And this is a situation where I don't think any of us wanted to see the DeMar Hamlin thing happen, but the uncertainty has given, in my opinion, the Bengals the worst shake of the entire thing.
The Bengals are going to be without two of their offensive linemen. We found that out today. The Bills, without Von Miller, don't have a great pass rush. Do those kind of cancel out? Are people making too big a deal about backup O-linemen for the Bengals? Or us Chiefs fans, we know what it's like to have backup O-linemen in big games. Did not go well in Tampa. Or this situation for the Bengals is huge, even if the Bills' pass rush is not great without Von Miller.
Yeah, I think, the offensive line injuries, when you have a great quarterback and great receiver, they don't matter until they do, as we found out with the Chiefs. That was the year where they won 14 games and 60% of their offensive line was out that year, for most of the season. So there was certainly like one of those situations where we're all looking at, the thing and we went into the Super Bowl like, well, Eric Fisher's not that good. He's not like Ron Yeri or something. So, we're going to be fine. And it bit us all in that time period. So I would say, I would say that it's probably, a thing, but it's baked into the markets at this point. And, the Bills last week, they had to rush Matt Milano 8 times. They had to rush Tremaine Edmonds 8 times. They had to blitz with Taron Johnson as well as Tre'Davious White 2 times each. They're not a team that can rush 4 anymore. And if they try to rush multiple, I mean, we know as Chiefs fans that this is a very, very stout receiving core for, the Cincinnati Bengals. And I do think they will take advantage if they have to.
Outside of Burrow and Allen, who are the most important players in this game?
I think it's Jamar Chase. I think it's I think it's Tre'Davious White. I think, if they make plays there, it's going to be really hard, for the Bills to keep up, much like it was before the Hamlin injury or before, Hamlin had a heart attack basically on the field the other day. It was tough for them to cover the Bengals offense in that early portion. So that's big. I think it's some of the secondary players for the Bills, as we know, as Chiefs fans, like Gabe Davis, Cole Beasley. Are they going to be able to do things? And then, with Cincinnati, I think it's Jermaine Pratt. I mean, the linebacker level, if they can stop the Bills from being able to run the football, the Bills have tried to run more of late because they know that things are a little trickier for them in the passing game with Allen not being quite as good as he has been in the past. And so if that is, if that's part of the thought process here as well, if Jermaine Pratt and company can, stop the run, then the Bills are going to be really hard pressed on offense to have success.
If you had to put, a stake in it, would you choose Burrow or choose Allen?
I'm taking Cincinnati this week. Against the spread, I know you're getting probably 2-1 just to win outright. Like I do think I like them, and maybe I just want to see, as a Chiefs fan, I want to see, them face off in the AFC title game again. I want to see the good folks in Chiefs Kingdom get to host an AFC title game. I want all of that for sure. But I also think that, it's probably going to be what we end up seeing. So I think that, the Bills are kind of, they're running out of gas a little bit. So and I think that's going to be, to the Bengals' benefit. I think the Bengals are going to run out of gas, much like the Chiefs did last year in beating Buffalo by the time next week comes up.
We're talking with Eric Eager. You can check him out on Twitter at Eric Eager _. Check out his Sumer Sports podcast. It's fantastic. Let's go to the NFC. I think the Eagles. Well, real quick, is Jalen Hurts healthy? Is he good? Do you think, or is he iffy?
Yeah, I think he's healthy.
If he's healthy, I think they roll the Giants.
I do too. I think that's a very I think that's a very reasonable assumption to make.
I just think the Giants defense stinks. And I think the Eagles defense is a lot better than what people think. So I think the Eagles are going to win that one. And I'm not a huge Daniel Jones guy. I hope the Giants pay Daniel Jones because then you won't win anything. Let's go then to the other game. Cowboys versus 49ers. I think this is going to be the most interesting game. How do you see this game?
I think the point spread is right at 3.5. I think 4 is maybe a little bit too much, but man, I think that this is a very good matchup, and I'm really excited for it. And I think Dak could do one of two things. He could be great like he was last week, or he could struggle mightily like he's had for much of the season. So I'm really excited to see what happens.
Brock Purdy. Is he that dude, or it is way all about the system and all he has to do is throw slants, throw crossers, and that's all he's got to do? Because I thought that was fascinating, some of the numbers that were shown. I think maybe even you were the one who tweeted it out, that he stinks at every other aspect of throwing the football except for the intermediate throw, and that's all that he needs to do, because the yards after catch with that system, with the guys that they got, they just gobble them up. And just hit a crossing route, Brock. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, I think that I think he's good enough to run this offense. Like, I think that the right way to say it maybe is that he's good enough for Shanahan to help him out that much, right? And so that would be my handicap of it. Is I think he's certainly good enough, to win the Super Bowl with right now. And but at the same time, I don't think anybody would be surprised if he made a key mistake that was the reason that the Niners didn't win either this game or any of the next few games.
So who do you have in the Super Bowl?
I'm going Chiefs Eagles. I think people are underrating the Eagles. I think that I know that there's been an injury to Hurts, and I know that's not as easy to come back from a rib injury when you're a quarterback and all that kind of thing. But I do believe I think that team is an absolute wagon, and I think that we're gonna see, I think, pretty explicitly how deep they are, especially off of a bye, getting healthy, and the fact that, look, the Niners, and much like the Bills and Bengals, I think the Niners and Cowboys are going to beat each other up too much for there to be a good game by one of them in the title game.
All right, last two I've got for you. Since you got Chiefs Eagles in the title game, because that's the same thing that I've got. After it's all said and done, will the Kelsey brothers be the best brother duo ever in the NFL?
Oh wow, I haven't even thought. Okay,
because do you think Jason Kelsey's going to the Hall of Fame?
That's a good question. He could be, and would they be the first pair of brothers to make the Hall of Fame? I would imagine so.
Have to be. The only other, I know there's some Matthews. There are a lot of Matthews. I don't know if they were. I mean, brothers.
Clay's dad and Bruce Matthews. Bruce is a Hall of Famer. Clay Matthews' dad, Clay Matthews, was pretty good, but not. Was he Hall of Fame? I don't think he's Hall of Fame. So yeah, I mean, I guess you have to make the case that they're the two best brothers. I mean, Tiki and Rondé, neither one made the Hall of Fame. Both were very, very good. So yeah, you'd almost have to say that.
And then lastly, if the NFL goes to neutral sites for the title games, are you for or against it?
I'm against it, for the most part, because I think that the one seed then, and again, these people are like, oh, we deserve this. It's like, no, the average fan doesn't deserve like their hometown, team getting things. You're not the one playing type of thing. But I do think taking away an AFC title game from the Chiefs in a normal year where they sort of have deserved it would be kind of crappy. So I think that's my issue is, having the title game in Arrowhead is a great thing for the city, and you don't really want to take that away.
Well, just a quick follow-up. The owners would have to vote on this. If you're the Bengals and you're the Bills, don't you say, yes, let's do this, just for the sheer fact that then you don't potentially have to go to Arrowhead every damn year?
Well, yeah, I mean, this would clearly diminish the Chiefs, but also, because they're the best team and they're probably handicapped to be the best team in the AFC for the foreseeable future. I mean, geez, the Chiefs traded their best wide receiver this year and have gotten better by 2 games. And so I think that, the rest of the AFC now, that especially when guys like Herbert and Burrow have to get paid that kind of money, they're staring down the barrel looking and saying, well, are we going to ever win anything in this conference? So, yeah, it would be, if you're any team but Kansas City, I think you almost have to vote. You almost have to vote for this out of like Schadenfreude, if nothing else.
Eric, thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the podcast. Great stuff. Enjoy the games coming up. And here's hoping that coming up in February, it'll be the Chiefs and I really don't care who else.
Yes. Well, hey, Jake, thanks for having me on. Go Chiefs, and I hope to talk to you on the Super Bowl week.
That is Eric Eager. Does a fantastic job. Great stats. He's probably one of the smartest guys out there. I can tell you that. Great stuff. Yeah, I hope it is the Chiefs and anyone else. I hope it's Chiefs Giants.
That's not happening.
Why not?
Giants aren't winning this weekend.
They're not, but I want them to.
I know.
Strictly for this building, I hope it's Chiefs Cowboys, because then, man, it would be some epic back and forths with our good pal, 60 feet to the south of us, Bradley.
Yeah.
Gray. Look at him working hard.
Well, actually, to be just more clear, it'd be bars between you two. I would not be partaking.
Yeah, you're really not much of an instigator.
I'm not. No, I'm not an instigator.
Man, that would be amazing.
You two are, though. And that's the only reason I kind of don't want that.
No, we need
Instead,
that.
I have to listen to you two go back and forth for 2 weeks.
That's why I wanted last year the Chiefs and Packers to play in the Super Bowl, because then I would have made Brendan watch the game with me.
See, it's just me.
No, it'd be hilarious.
No.
Because
then also you would have been instigating with Brendan, and Brendan, like me, is not an instigator.
Yes. I'm trying to wave at Bradley J, but he's not paying attention.
Max, he's doing his own job.
He is doing his job. He's good at it.
He's doing his own job over there.
Oh, I got his attention. That's what I want. Cowboys, Chiefs. The dream scenario, Chiefs, Bengals, Cowboys, Eagles for networks.
Yeah.
Or it would be Chiefs, Bills.
Yeah, I don't know if anything really changes whether who they play.
Cowboys, Eagles is what they want.
No, yeah, they want Cowboys, Eagles. They want that.
That's not a question.
That's got a lot of juice to it if they get it.
How about that? The Eagles have to go through the division all the way again. Just like we told you. NFC East, best division in football. Told you at the beginning.
Cannot believe the NFC East ended up being the best division this year.
Cannot believe either. Coming up, we'll talk a little hoops, and we'll get to Seth Keysor, and we'll dive deep into the Chiefs-Jaguars matchup coming up. Hour of mic'd up on this Red Friday edition. Thank you so much for tagging along with us. Jake Vaughn along with Fulton Caster with you. We're going to get to some hoops chatter. KU K-State on the hardwood tomorrow. K-State, noon pregame, 1 o'clock tip-off. We'll get to Seth Keysor from the Chief of the North newsletter, talk all things Chiefs and Jags from the Chiefs perspective. And when the Chiefs win, and win comfortably, then we will talk more about who we'd rather face, the Bengals or the Bills. That'll be coming up with Seth Keysor here in about 15 minutes. As always, hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. We've got our high school games of the week tonight. It is the second round of the Topeka Invitational Tournament. Topeka almost got a big win last night, lost in overtime to the Chesty Lions of Lawrence. Highland Park, Topeka West should be a good one. Hopefully that does happen.
The TIT, arguably the best time of the year.
It is a fun time. It really, really is. So we got a lot to get to in this hour. But as I just mentioned, we were able to get in touch. He's a busy guy. He is.
Very busy man.
Very busy man. He is the afternoon personality on the Big 94.5 Country. He is Bradley J. Joins us right now, and I would consider you a big Cowboys fan.
I'm a Cowboy. I've been a Cowboys fan I told Fulton earlier, I said I've been a fan of two teams, the Steelers, and then I saw the Steelers play the Cowboys in the Super Bowl back in the day. First one they played in, switched teams, and I've been a fan ever since.
You switched allegiances.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that. I saw it.
Ain't no loyalty in this game.
How young was this Bradley J?
When was the first Super Bowl they played? I can't remember.
I don't know that. Was it like Tom Landry?
Oh, yeah, it's in the 70s. I think when they
well
played.
Before my time,
but I was but they were America's team. They hyped it up back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day, hyped up like that. And so like I was like, you know what? I like this team. I like the colors. I like the star. I like the players. And I just switched from the Steelers to the Cowboys, and I've been a Cowboys fan ever since. Been through the good and the bad.
Super Bowl 10?
What year was that?
Probably.
Does it say?
Let's see, if it was 10, it was probably about 1976, 75?
No, it's been 75. Yeah, 75. Yes,
because
I was born
4 was in 69.
I was born in 65, and that was the first Super Bowl.
There
that was
you go.
played in
There you go.
65. So at 10, I switched teams.
Here, he's 10
Okay.
years old. That's
Yeah.
a completely fine time to switch
And
teams.
what's your other team?
What, in other sports?
Oh, those are just your two teams that. Okay, I thought you were two teams like ever, but you.
I've never
both of them. Okay, gotcha.
I was a
Okay.
Steelers fan, and then I became
Gotcha.
when I was a little kid, and then I became a Cowboys fan.
And then you've been disappointed since like '97, right?
I'm not disappointed, man. It's just year to year. It keeps going. Every year you got to
This
have
is what
faith.
I mean by you're an instigator.
He is,
This
he
is
is.
what I mean.
Yeah,
Real
he's
quick.
again, it's instigator.
I said this:
Okay.
if the Cowboys win on Sunday, beat the 49ers, and I hope they do, because I don't want to see the 49ers in the Super Bowl. And then if you guys beat the Eagles, which I hope happens, because I don't want to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs win. It's Cowboys Chiefs
Right.
in the Super Bowl. We have to watch it together.
Well, that first of all, I just want to say that would kill Jake, because when I told him I was a Cowboys fan when we first met, he's like, Dak Prescott, he's not a playoff caliber quarterback.
How many playoff wins does he have? How many playoff wins does he got?
will
He's
not
got one.
He will not win you. This is Jake said.
Oh,
that.
I will stand by this.
Sometimes Jake doesn't remember what he says. Jake
Oh,
said this.
no.
He goes, Dak Prescott will never win you a playoff game. Well, he's won one. So Jake was wrong on that aspect.
Jake, to the point is, you said he would never win
No.
any.
He did.
You have been proven wrong.
I also
One is more than none.
Yeah, but then once I reminded him of that, he went, of course, where everybody goes. He'll never win you a Super Bowl.
No.
What do you think about that?
No.
What are you going to do? I was like,
This
that's
is
who we got to
even-
roll with. We
this
got to roll
is
with Dak Prescott. That's who we got.
This is even more reason then that we have to watch the Super Bowl together if it's Chiefs and Cowboys.
Okay,
I want it to be very clear. If we get a Chiefs Cowboys Super Bowl and you guys watch it together, I want to make this very clear.
Facebook
We're
Live.
live streaming.
Yes, yeah.
We cannot live stream parts of the game. The NFL has a thing about that. We can live stream your reactions.
Here's the thing. This is the number one reason Jake LeBon wants to watch the Super
Why you
Bowl.
gotta go full name me there, man? What are you,
Jake
my
LeBon,
dad?
because he came to me and he goes like, "Hey, you want to watch the this last playoff game? Like, you want to watch it at my house?" And he had a smile on his face. And I looked at him and I turned him. I go, I was like, "Oh no, I'm going over to Tim Colling's house to watch it. He's a Cowboys fan.
He's a big Cowboys fan, yeah.
And I said, "So I'm not going to go over there." And I turned and I kind of looked at Jake, and he had a big old smile on his face. And there we go. Had on his face, and I go, "You know what, Jake? I know exactly the reason why you want to watch a playoff game with the Cowboys at your house. Because if they lose, you want to be able to just give me such a hard time not leaving
No
your house
such
for an
thing.
hour.
No
Yes.
such thing.
You
No such
call
thing.
your wife right now, and she'd be there, because I watched the game,
My
the
wife's
Super Bowl.
busy right now.
I watched the Super Bowl at your house.
Yeah,
and I
because
see
your
how
wife
you
has a
watch.
job unlike us.
But so that's the only reason, Jake. So, but you know what, Jake, to all your fans out there, and I hope that
Your fans as well.
and when the Cowboys win, because if you're
Bradley
a
J.
fan,
Hyde.
you have to say when your team wins, I will watch the Super Bowl at your house. But you can have 15 minutes to just say what you want. You can just celebrate in my face. I'll just sit there and not say anything.
Okay.
I'll take it. But also, I don't really want to. You know what? Just if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl,
win, you can destroy me. I will deserve it.
No. Because you know why?
No.
Because if the Chiefs and the Cowboys play and you win and you're in my face, if the Cowboys win, me just getting up and walking out the door will be just enough for me. Just be like,
No.
hey, Jake, be like dropping the mic and saying, I'm out. All right, I got to go, but I will. We'll go. We'll do it, man.
I love you, buddy. Yes, there we go. We have an accord.
We have reached an agreement.
What are the odds you think the Chiefs Cowboys Super Bowl could actually occur?
15%.
I was gonna say 10.
I don't know, 15, 20.
I mean, it's not guaranteed that the Chiefs get there.
No, not at all.
I mean, the Bills and the Bengals are good.
Yeah,
obviously.
that's beat either the Bills or the Bengals, and that's not. These last few years have shown that's not easy.
And then the Cowboys have to get by
the Niners, who are playing hotter than any team right now, and Philly, who's a very good team. Like, for us to get to that moment, it's not easy.
Bradley J is fantastic.
You two are such instigators.
He's terrific.
You two are just.
No,
if we get that far and you two do this, I'm live streaming it. I am setting us up a way to do it. Like, no, we're.
Yes. And Brendan, he said, there was no way I was watching the game if it was Chiefs versus Packers with you. He goes, I would have taken a suspension.
Yeah, he told me that. He would take a suspension. He would take a suspension means not watching that game with you. And I don't blame him for a second.
But see, the thing is, that's not because of me.
No, that's because of you.
No. No, I asked him, I goes, because you don't want to be watching it with somebody else of the opposing team? Is it me? He goes, no, I just hate watching games with anybody.
That's fair. I now want to ask him, does he just kick Abby out of the house when games are on?
No. Abby's probably there to
keep him a level of sane.
She's there to go Bill Snyder, calm the water.
The soothing force to get Brendan from fully losing his mind.
It's not me. It isn't me.
That's part of it.
But no, it really isn't. I asked him that.
That's part of it.
So, well, no, it is. I literally asked him that. I literally just asked him that. So I'm glad now that I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does,
we have an accord.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. That's the best part.
And I'm staying as far away from that as I can.
No, we all gotta watch together.
No.
You guys are a bunch of fuddy duds.
No, because here's the thing. I have watched 2 Chiefs Super Bowls in my life. I'm so happy I can say that. Both were some of the most stress-filled experiences of my life. I don't need to couple that with you two throwing barbs at each other for 3 hours.
Man, I can't wait.
Get enough stress just watching what's happening.
Can't wait. Let's get to a little hoops, even though nobody really cares about the hoops games because of the divisional round of the playoffs. K-State versus Texas Tech, 1 o'clock tip-off. Here are the losses for Texas Tech in Big 12 play. You ready for this?
Yeah.
7-2. 34, 5, 3, 6. I'm going to say those again. 7, 2, 34, 5, 3, 6. They have lost 4 games by a total of 15 points. 16 points, beg your pardon. That's it.
Yeah.
To think K-State's just going to roll them over? No. Now, here's the other thing, too. This Texas Tech ain't what they used to be.
Yeah, this ain't your mama's Texas Tech.
They ain't defensive. They ain't about that life anymore. K-State should win this game. It is at home. That shouldn't be as big of a concern.
Mm-hmm.
Can Tech come on the road and win? Yes.
Of course.
They've lost 4 games in Big 12 play by a total of 16 points.
Anyone in this conference can beat anyone.
That's incredible. But they should take care of business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more interested in the atmosphere. Is it packed? Is there a hangover effect? Not by the players, because I think Tang's going to get them ready to go.
Yeah.
Is there a hangover by the fans?
Yeah, has that building got that same juice? As Jerome Tang has said, do they have enough doom in the building?
I do think it works out great that the game is at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, honestly, you know what? People go watch K-State play Texas Tech. By the time you wrap that up on some of your drive back, throw on the radio broadcast, catch a little bit of the Chiefs, and you're home to watch the actual game.
Exactly.
Boom.
Exactly. KU taking on TCU. TCU is 3-3 in the conference. Here are their losses: 9-4-2. Their wins: 14-1 and 6. They cannot shoot the three.
They are very poor perimeter
cannot
shooting
shoot
team.
the three.
Very poor.
They're bad, but they can beat you inside. They showed that against Kansas State. Eddie Lampkin. And what is he going to do? Is he going to foul out KJ Adams, or can KJ Adams run circles around him? It's not just, see, there's the difference between K-State and KU is that, Igiola inside can't really score it against, Eddie Lampkin. Whereas KJ Adams is quicker.
Yeah.
And I think he can, but he's not big enough. Do they go in the post? Who gets in foul trouble first? I think foul trouble is an issue. Can TCU go on the road and beat Kansas State? Yes, no question. But I do think KU should take care of business. I really do think that. And so I think both home teams get the win. I think, to me, TCU has a better chance of upsetting KU because they are that much better of a team. But the hangover effect for Kansas State is real, whereas KU will be back at home. They've been there.
This is what they do.
That's not a huge concern. So that's the crazy thing. The losses for both of these teams: 7-2, 5-3, 9-4 and 2. Just so close. The margins are so thin. My guess is K-State will be about a 4-point favorite over Texas Tech. Maybe 4.5, maybe 5. I think would be the max. And then I think KU will be about a 6-point favorite over TCU. That's what I'm going to go with. I think both win. If there was one team that I think would cover, I think it will be K-State. I don't know, just because TCU, they are so hot and cold. They looked awful against West Virginia. I could not believe they got trucked that bad. They lost by 14. It wasn't even 14. At one point, I think they were down by like 24.
Yeah, that loss for TCU against West Virginia was
I'm not going to lie to you.
bad.
I lost a penny or two on that one.
That's fair.
Because I just go, wow, TCU, Vegas knows, man. I was like, wow, TCU an underdog? Give me TCU money line. And then they got absolutely wasted. It wasn't even close.
Big 12 is a hell of a conference.
Yeah. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Seth Keysor, Chief of the North Newsletter, here on Mic'd Up. tomorrow, 2:00 pregame coverage, 3:30 kickoff. You can listen to that on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country. And to talk all things Chiefs, we bring in the man who puts together one of the best newsletters out there. It's the Chief in the North newsletter, which I just re-upped, by the way. I got a little email that said, would you like to resubscribe or something of that nature? And I clicked yes. Seth Keysor joining us. You can follow him on Twitter at RealMNChiefsFan. Seth, just to let you know, I re-upped, man. Keep doing the great work. You're doing the Lord's work when it comes to Chiefs coverage. So keep up the good work. I enjoy it. And we're going to talk plenty of Chiefs versus Jags. All right. Talk me down as to why I am not worried at all about this game. And I think the Chiefs win by double figures.
You know, you have to stick with the any given Sunday thing. Just, this is a Chiefs team that, as great as they've looked at times this season, they also managed to lose to a hopelessly terrible Colts team and played a couple of bad Texans and Broncos teams pretty darn close. That's the best I can do on one end. And then on the other end, I would just say that, the Jags gave it a team that's given the Chiefs problems is the Chargers. The Jags were able to come back. They're a well-coached team. They got a talented quarterback. They've got a few skill position guys that can make big plays, a pass rush that's looking better. Am I getting anywhere? Are you feeling a little less confident?
The any given Sunday is the only aspect to me. Any given Sunday, because that's what happened against the Colts. Any given Sunday. Did the Jags get Deion Sanders, Rod Woodson, Darrell Green in their prime? Otherwise, you could throw for 350 yards on them.
And that's really where, the problem's going to lie for them. They're a well-coached team. Doug Peterson's a good coach. He's an offensive-minded guy. And their defense hasn't been particularly creative this year in ways that, like with the Bengals, their defensive coordinator, Big Lou, he gives the Chiefs a hard time. He's a really good game-by-game game planner. With the Jags, it really is a matter for them. They need to hope that the Chiefs give them a few gifts, which they did when they played in Week 10, and it still wasn't enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs lost the turnover battle that day 3-0. They gave up an onside kick right out of the get-go. It was obviously, it was a game filled with errors from the Chiefs' perspective, and they still won by 10, and they were up 17 in the fourth. So the Chiefs are the better team. And there's a reason why Vegas, I think the line hasn't, it's like 8.5 or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big line for a playoff game. And so the big thing is for the Jags, it's okay, can we keep it close and do a few things to kind of raise variance to where a bounce of the football matters. And the Chiefs have had a tendency to make a few self-inflicted errors this year, especially on special teams, that raise up that variance. But that's really what they're going to need to rely on is, hey, we're a good enough team that if the Chiefs give us, a B effort, make some mistakes, we can take advantage of that, because there's some teams that even then aren't good enough to really take advantage unless, it's an epic meltdown like what happened against the Colts.
The Chiefs pass rush was the biggest question mark going into this year. The Chiefs pass rush has gotten very much improved over the last 5 or 6 weeks. Number 2 in sacks, and I know sacks are not the end all be all, but they get pressure on the quarterback. But they're doing it against bad quarterbacks and some bad teams and bad O-lines. Do you buy into the Chiefs pass rush is good enough to get to Josh Allen or Joe Burrow now with what George has done, Chris Jones on a warpath, or you know what, it's still not good enough to get those guys down? Because getting guys like, the Mills Mafia and, Geno Smith and Jared Stidham, even Russell Wilson and the bad Broncos O-line, to quote, the great lyrics, that doesn't impress me much. I want to go Shania Twain on you. Like, are they gotten good enough with the passers? Because they are gotten better. Is it good enough to get those guys down? Because that's what matters.
Right. And, with Joe Burrow, with the way that offensive line is looking right now, you're going to get some pressure on him. It's about how consistent is it? and how meaningful is it? And that's where everyone who's not named Chris Jones comes into play. And you and I have talked about this before, the idea of complementary pass rush, that you can have a superstar and that guarantees you a certain floor, but the consistency and the intensity of pass rush is dependent on multiple guys getting it done. And that's what they're going to have to see, because that has upticked. Karlaftis has been on a steady improvement slope throughout the year. Mike Dana has been on a steady improvement slope throughout the year. Carlos Dunlap looks as good as he's looked all season. He's been a great addition, not just as a pass rusher, but he leads the league from non-defensive backs in batted balls. And the guy who's tied for second is George Karlaftis, the water polo guy. And so I think what we've seen is that they look like they are no longer a bad pass rush. The question is, are they an average pass rush, or are they a game-changing pass rush? And I think that's just going to be more of an unknown until they face, the Bengals, the Bills, teams that traditionally, even if they've been able to get some pressure, it hasn't been quite consistent or intense enough to swing the game the way you'd want to see. So they got a lot of pressure on the Jags in Week 10, and the Jags are playing a lot better ball than they were then. So, I mean, this is like test one, right? Because the Jags they're a decent offense. They're a solid offense. So if they can continue to ramp up the pressure there, that'll be a really encouraging sign if they're able to win in advance.
We're talking with Seth Keysor. It has a fantastic newsletter. It is terrific. Chief in the North newsletter. Just Google Chief in the North newsletter. It'll take you there. Follow all of that. Sign up. Trust me, you will not regret it. They don't have any dudes to me. They don't. They don't have a Jamar Chase. Christian Kirk, he's a number 2. He ain't Jamar. He's not even T. Higgins. I don't think ETN is a dude. I don't even think on defense. I think Josh Allen, pass rusher, is good. He's not Chris Jones. So to me, the offense, what scares you about the offense? Like, slow down ETN. Check. They can't do anything else.
I think the big thing with them is you saw against the Chargers, and the Chargers on defense are a very well-coached team. And you saw a few plays where Lawrence made throws that were to guys who were just wide open. And that's where a guy like Peterson, a lot like Reed, obviously he's a Reed disciple and all that, but he kind of calls a different game. But he's pretty bold in what he does, and he'll scheme some guys open. And while they don't have any, absolute killers at wide receiver, Christian Kirk's had a good season from the slot, and, threatening down the field a little bit and over the middle of the field. That's where the Chiefs have struggled to defend at times. And so, that's, and then, with ETN, it's kind of one of those, you got to rally and tackle, and they did that pretty well against him in Week 10, because he's a guy that if you miss one, you might have a big chunk gain because he's explosive. So those are the things where it can scare you a little bit. To me, it's the play design. If Kirk can get some freedom over the middle out of the slot and making sure you rally and tackle on ETN, and then play design stuff. You deal with all that, and basically what all that involves is having a very disciplined day on defense, swarming well, which is what the defense has done over the course of the last, the last month or two. We've seen really steady improvements in the defense. Even in the game they lost against the Bengals, I mean, it's not like the defense was getting completely destroyed in that game. They couldn't get a stop when they really needed it, but they did get one stop when they really needed it. And then the Chiefs, you had a fumble, and it's same against the Bills where, Chris Jones had a sack where the Chiefs had a chance to extend the lead in the fourth. They couldn't do it. And so the defense has given them chances, and they need to play disciplined. And the other thing I'm really curious about, what I think you're going to see some of, is that the Jags, they still have a young quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. You basically can discount that rookie season because I don't know how much he learned under Urban Meyer. But you've got a guy who is still relatively young. And last week against the Chargers, their offensive line was a little bit prone to missing some stuff, whether it was on a stunt or on a well-timed blitz. They didn't do a great job picking up some of those games, and that was true in Week 10 as well. And so I'm curious, Spags kind of gave Trevor Lawrence the young quarterback treatment in Week 10, the I'm going to blitz the daylights out of you, and you need to show me you can beat it. And we can call it the Jordan Love treatment for what he did to Jordan Love last year, because that was just mean. It was mean-spirited and funny. But the biggest thing is whether or not that's going to work against Lawrence this time. It worked fairly well. He made some good throws as well. But that's really, I think, you get some of that pressure, you mess with his mind with some games, and then you make sure that you get a little pressure when you rush 4 as well. And the Chiefs have a chance to kind of make a statement of a game here against a good but not great offense.
All righty. Would you rather play the Bills on the road, because I think the Bills are the weaker team at this point, or would you rather face the better team at home in the Bengals? How do you decipher this little conundrum?
I think the Chiefs have a slightly better chance of beating the Bills than they do beating the Bengals for a few reasons. One of them, styles make fights, and the Bengals, they're built very well to attack some of the Chiefs' weaknesses. That said, I want the AFC Championship to run through Arrowhead again, simply because they set a record last year, 4 times in a row hosting the AFC Championship. I'd love to see them extend that. The history stuff kind of matters to me, because one day we're going to be arguing about Pat Mahomes and whether or not he's the greatest of all time. And the other side of it is also the Bengals are the only team in the league that can legitimately say they've got it over the Chiefs right now. The Bills beat them this year and last year in the regular season, but no one cares because the Chiefs beat them in the divisional round last year. The Bengals have beaten the Chiefs 3 times running. They did it at Arrowhead twice, and they also did it when it really mattered with the worst half of Patrick Mahomes' playoff career. So they're the only team in the league that right now can say we've got one on the Chiefs. I want to see the Chiefs shake that, go through that. But I'm a narratives guy. I enjoy seeing those things crumble to the ground, and so that would be my preference. And also, I just think it's so much nicer seeing the AFC Championship hosted at Arrowhead.
Let's say Kappas and Johnson are out, or no, Williams, not sorry, for the Bengals. Let's say they're not playing Sunday, which is a big deal, but I don't think the Bills have great pass rushers without Von Miller. So I don't know if that's really a huge deal. But if the Chiefs, if they got their healthy guys, if Karlaftis and Jones and Frank Clark and everybody play against 2 starters and then backups against the Bengals, I do think that would play a huge factor if the Chiefs do play the Bengals next Sunday on the 29th. If those 2 are not playing, then I do think it becomes a little bit different of a matchup than the previous.
I think in theory that definitely could be true. What's funny right now, there's some listeners that are right now going, but they got to beat the Jags first. Totally true. And I'm sure the team really isn't talking about the Bengals or the Bills at all. And so since what we talk about can't affect the team, we might as well.
Exactly.
But I would say, the Bengals have had a bad offensive line against the Chiefs before. So like the AFC Championship game last year, the Chiefs got some pressure, but not nearly as much as they should have. And it really is, like, to me, I got to see it because they didn't get a ton of pressure against them this year either. You really had where you had Chris Jones getting some pressure, not as much as he normally does, with a lot of attention dedicated to him. And it's almost like some version of, you almost play like a version of like man Halo, where you've got, when it's the offense on the field, you kind of halo one guy with man coverage across the board. It's almost like that's what they're doing, where they're just going to slide to Chris Jones' side every single time. And the Chiefs haven't really had an answer to it. And so they would 100% need to get a big day, or at least a good day out of, Karlaftis, Dunlap, Dana, Clark. At least 2 of those guys would need to have a good day to make sure you get that consistent rush and make them pay for that attention that they pay to Chris Jones.
Last 2 questions I've got for you. They're pretty simple. What's more surprising? Frank Clark is 5th all time in sacks in the postseason, and if he gets 1 more sack, he will pass Reggie White. That's crazy to say. Or that Chris Jones has played 10 games and doesn't have a sack in the playoffs.
Neither particularly surprised me. I mean, the Jones thing would surprise me more. But, sacks are about opportunity, volume, and luck as much as they're about skill. Wins, pressures, and hits, that tells you more about the skill. Whether or not those convert into sacks, that's more luck. And, that's, when I wrote about complementary pass rush, just think about George Karlaftis' sack of Stidham against the Raiders, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason that play was a sack was because Jones had a great win, caused pressure. Stidham had to step up. He had nowhere to go because Karlaftis also won a little bit slower to the inside. Had Karlaftis gotten stonewalled, Stidham would have had a place to step up, and everyone would have said, no one would have even remembered the play if it were a big play for the Raiders. And it was, why isn't Chris Jones getting pressure? And that's a lot of it's just luck. Guys don't have anywhere. If they have somewhere to bail out, one of the sacks that Chris Jones had on Trevor Lawrence, the reason Trevor Lawrence couldn't bail is because Dunlap won around the edge and cut off any angle of him backing away. And so if you don't get pressure from anywhere else, it's hard to collect the sack. But that has nothing to do with how good you did on that play. So and I think, what you're talking about, because, Reggie White played in more than a few playoff games. And that's a really great stat to kind of demonstrate that while sacks are wildly important, they are not necessarily an indicator of success. They might be. It's kind of like touchdowns for a wide receiver, right? They might be an indicator of success. They might not. They might just be an indicator that he got targeted way more in the red zone than some people.
Last question I've got for you. When was the last time you went ice fishing?
The last time I went ice fishing was years and years ago. I don't have one of those ice castle setups. And for me, if I'm going to go ice fishing, the only way I'm going ice fishing is if I've got a trailer the size of a house. And and now that's fun.
Yes.
Is that fishing? Sort of. But that's so it's been a long time for me.
All right. The reason I have that is my cousin sent me a text of him fishing, and he's in a giant ice hut, and he's got a TV. He goes, this is actually better than fishing in the summertime because I'm sitting here watching television and fishing at the same time.
Oh yeah, you can get those set up where you got Wi-Fi in those bad boys. You've got a bed, you've got a heater, you've got a kitchen. It is an incredible experience if you do it right, and plus you get to catch some fish too.
Seth, your newsletter's fantastic. Keep up the great work, my friend. We really, really enjoy it. Chiefs, they're going to take care of the Jags, and I can't wait because I think the Bengals are going to win, and I think it's going to be number 5 in a row at Arrowhead. We appreciate the time, Seth.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Seth Keysor, real Minnesota Chiefs fan on Twitter, does a fantastic job. Love the newsletter. He went into basically like what can go wrong for the Chiefs. Turnovers, number 1. Not a surprise.
Not at all. It's kind of the thing.
Maybe you should go ice fishing.
It's on the list. We want to do it one year. I want to go one year. I want to rent. I want to rent one of them big old huts you put on the ice. And yeah, I want to go ice fishing.
You didn't even need to do that. Just let me call up my cousins. Hey, my buddy wants to go fishing. Can he use your hut? They'll say this. Of course.
Got a little goofy going on there.
That's my Minnesotan accent.
That's fair.
Yeah, sure.
Now, ice fishing, no,
I'm not kidding you. They'd let you do that. They would.
Yeah, take them up on it.
Yeah.
Just chilling a little ice hut.
You might be able to actually catch some fish. That was mean. Throw the flag.
That's 15.
Throw the flag.
That's 15.
That's not Joey Bosa. That was not out of
anger. I'm
was...
hoping this year we can go back to our usual spots. So that way, to both you and all of our texters, I can show you guys. It matters where you are. Environment matters. No. Just like Seth says, it's about opportunities. You need opportunities to be able to get the counting stats. I need opportunities to get on the board. I didn't even have opportunities to get on the board.
Let's look back on that real quick. Do you look back on that and laugh, or do you look back on that and you get mad?
So I don't get...
Folks, real quick, if you don't know, Fulton went on a week-long fishing trip. 7 days down in Oklahoma. He didn't even catch a single fish.
No, and which has become a running theme amongst Jake of poking fun. No, I look back on it and I wish I would have known more of what our plans are going to be, because then I would have phrased it differently. Because once I got there, I realized this wasn't really a fishing trip like it normally was.
It was more of a buddy's trip.
It was a family vacation.
Okay.
That's what it became, because my buddy's family was basically my family. Like, it became a family vacation. It was a lot different. I'm not kidding you. In 7 days, we went out on the lake to fish 3 times. You can't win with those margins. You can't win with those margins on an unfamiliar territory during a heat wave. So, if anything, I wish I could have framed it better, because you get to always like to make your little joke that I went on a fishing trip and didn't catch any fish. Well, when I really think about it, it wasn't a fishing trip. I wish it was, because that's what I go for. It was more of a vacation.
If I only want to poke fun if you at least get a chuckle out of it. If
I get a little chuckle out of it. I truly do.
If not, then I don't want to. I don't want to be that guy.
All I know is this year I hope we go back to Minnesota, because if I do, I will be able to reign supreme.
You won't have. If you go up there and then you don't catch fish, you stink.
No, I agree. Which is where last time we went up there to Minnesota, I was skunked for the first 3 days. I had a terrible first 3 days out there. I had no rhythm.
I'm questioning your fishing skills now.
I finished the final few days with over 10 fish.
There you go.
We got on the heater.
There you go. All right.
No, I was questioning my own skills after 3 days. I was like, what the hell is going on?
I didn't know.
And then I started getting on a roll.
Because he lives up in Minnesota, and I didn't know if he'd been ice fishing, because my cousins do that all the time. Coming up next, we'll get our final thoughts on the Chiefs and the Jags, the rest of the divisional round here on Mic'd Up. to the weekend, including the divisional round. My big chief, Nick Bolton. You got Frank Clark.
I do.
He run into a sack. What if he gets like 3 sacks?
I will laugh so hard. I kind of want Frank to find a way to pop off in 3 games and get 6 sacks. Frank Clark, final postseason with the Chiefs, becomes the NFL's all-time playoff sack leader. What would you do if that happened?
It'd be incredible.
Just imagine. Be a great experience. Tell your kids about it.
How many? Do you know who's the all-time leader of sacks in the postseason?
No. I can look it up, though.
No, I know who it is.
I don't know.
He plays for the Patriots.
I don't know.
He just got into the Hall of Fame.
I couldn't tell you.
Willie McGinnis. Yep. Willie McGinnis. I didn't even think Willie McGinnis was a Hall of Famer. I'm pretty sure he got in there. Or was that Richard Seymour?
I think Richard Seymour's who got in. I don't think Willie McGinnis just got in
I
yet.
thought he did. I thought Willie McGinnis is in the thought he got in the Hall of Fame.
Willie's not in.
He's not. It
He
was
is not
Seymour
in.
then.
I was pretty sure when Steve Ramos, I'm pretty sure Seymour is what we got in.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah. He's the all-time leader in sacks in the playoffs.
86 career regular season sacks.
Mm-hmm.
16 sacks in the playoffs.
He had 4
All
and a
with
half.
New England.
He had 4.5 in one playoff stretch. That helps.
Had 5 in 2003.
Yep.
Yeah. Good player.
Willie McGinnis. Didn't think he'd be the guy.
No.
Final score, what do you got?
Give me 31-24 Chiefs.
I'm going to go 35-20.
Okay.
I think it's a 2-touchdown win for the Kansas City
Nice little
Chiefs.
15-point win
I
there.
think the Chiefs win this thing. If they don't turn it over, they win by 15. If they turn it over, they win by probably your score, 7.
Okay. It's fair.
I just don't see how.
You don't see how without a little help they keep it close.
I think they need a lot of help. I think the Jaguars need to run it like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
They need breakdowns by the Chiefs secondary. They need Butker to miss some field goals. They need to connect on 4th down conversions, and they need the Chiefs to fumble it twice. That's the bingo card right there. Bingo, you need 5 things. They have to run it really, really well. Chiefs have to have turnovers. Chiefs have a breakdown in the secondary, which allows an open touchdown. Butker missing a field goal. And 4th down conversions. That's your bingo right there. Those 5. They need all 5. That's how you win. Because that's exactly what occurred. Instead of a missed field goal, say special teams gaff or something like that.
Yeah.
Like block punt or something like that.
That is what seems to be the common denominators in the Chiefs' unfortunate losses.
Yeah.
No. Jags need probably something around those lines to happen if they want to win this game, but you know, stranger things happen. I'm still confident in Kansas City. Then we'll see if they had to be Buffalo or Cincinnati.
I think it's Cincinnati. Chiefs Bengals round 4.
Well, Mahomes finally beat Burrow.
Did the Cowboys did the Eagles and Niners play each other this year?
No.
I don't think they did they?
No.
No, they did not.
Kev's right.
They did not.
Said it with all the confidence in the world.
That'll be a fun game too.
I think so.
Eagles Niners.
Watch Brock Purdy get bent in half by Hassan Reddick.
But I want the Cowboys to make it to the Super Bowl So that way, Bradley J will watch the Super Bowl together. That'll be a lot of fun. Coming up next, we'll finish things off with the mic drop. It's time for the mic drop. Fulton, what do you got?
This is going to be a very fun weekend of sports. You got the Chiefs, got KU, got K-State. Hope all you enjoy it in some way or another. And I hope whatever teams you root for, they all win this weekend. Unless you're a Jags fan, and then I hope your team loses this weekend. But outside of that, I hope your team wins this weekend. Or if you're a TCU fan, then also hope your team loses this weekend. But outside of that, I hope your team wins this weekend. As always, Hawks.
Nothing about the Royals and Araldis?
I can't do that. I can't put myself through that because I'm just going to get too angry. I got to let it go.
Man, I'm looking forward to
I got to take my advice from Frozen and just let it go.
I can't wait for Angry Fulton. It's one of my favorite Fultons.
We're at an unprecedented rate of it returning. Remember, we're under a month till pitchers and catchers report.
Yeah, we are.
Which means we're under a month until there's enough daily content that I'm about to start getting angry a lot more.
That's facts. Chiefs fans, relax. You have number 15, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's the best quarterback in the divisional round in NFL history. That's how good he is. Relax. Chiefs roll. Coming up, you got 580 Sports Talk. We got some high school hoops coming up. We'll talk to you on Monday at noon.